Hey guys, and welcome to part 5 of the Sonic Unleashed playthrough. We have concluded our business in Holoska Day and we're heading back to the town of Spagonia to do the night stage.
And guess what, guys? I'm back.
You could have come up with something better than that.
Well, it's been a busy week.
Right, on you go then, Colin. What's your history with Unleashed?
Well, with Unleashed, I didn't really know what to think of it when it first kind of got announced. Like, when I first saw the trailer, I obviously thought, okay, they're going with like the Sonic Rush sort of gameplay. And at first I was kind of thinking, alright, so they must be like kind of trying to go back to the roots of Sonic. And, like, I was kind of agreeing with like people in the comments of like the YouTube video. They were saying that like, right, this is going to like probably like revive the Sonic franchise, because after like Sonic 06, people were really wanting like a game where it was like kind of like more 2D, because people thought that Sonic would fit better in that sort of like kind of gameplay. So I did kind of like what I saw, but then they announced the Werehog, and I was like, okay, that's a bit different. But like I was like a teenager at the time, so I was a bit more open-minded with stuff. Because I was like easily pleased when I was younger. So like,
Well, at that time, I would thought everybody at that time would thought I'll take anything after the Buzzmo that was Sonic 06.
like I thought, like especially from the production values of this game, I thought like this is like a big major step up from Sonic 06. Like you can tell that they put like a lot of effort into this game.
This one, I said before, this one seems like they put the most budget into not just the levels, but into the hub worlds, the characters, and all. I mean, look at the hub world citizens, for example. They actually did the right thing. Instead of making them realistic, they made them cartoony, and it's like a Pixar film in a weird way.
Mm-hmm. Because didn't they say that that they actually looked to Pixar movies to like get inspiration for like the animation that they should do?
And it shows when you look at these citizens. I mean, they look right out of a Disney Pixar film, and it oddly fits with the style of Sonic.
It's like the Incredibles sort of style, isn't it?
Aye, it's kind of like that, aye. And you gotta love how Amy, for once, manages to find the right hedgehog, but because she's so stupid, mistaken to, like, it's the right fucking hedgehog. You got it right. Why are you walking away?
Irony much.
Then again, we all know she's colorblind if she's able to mistake silver for Sonic.
What, she'll think that Infinite, the new villain from Sonic Forces, is going to be like Sonic or something like that, or the original character, like, right, Amy.
I don't care. He's got a red eye. I've seen Sonic with red eyes before. He's still my Sonic.
It's like Sonic will just be standing there like, are you trying to be funny right now?
Here is old Professor Pickle.
Them eyebrows.
What the I don't understand why eyebrows. And then again, it's probably a Pixar idea.
What do you think it must be like for him getting his hair cut? It's like, alright, so we're going to take a wee trim off the top of your head. Do you want your eyebrows trimmed as well?
Oh no, son, just leave the eyebrows. Ho 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 ho. Oh, mind you, I would like to discuss that situation over a plate of cucumber sandwiches.
That's fucking disgusting. You know what it kind of looks like? It kind of looks like Professor Pickle had like one big like massive long fringe that went over his eyes, but they like completely cut off like the middle part of the fringe, so it looks like the bottom of his fringe is now his eyebrows. That's what it kind of looks like.
Now, unfortunately, if our viewers are able to notice, the frame rate does drop from time to time when you're in the hub worlds at night, and you know why? Because of the Werehog's fur.
Like, to be fair, like back in 2008, this is like one amazing looking game. Like back for 2008, it still even looks really good to this day.
I mean, the Hedgehog engine, the way it does its shadows and lighting and all that, and the day stages is fantastic.
It's like with Sonic Forces, they're using like Hedgehog Engine 2.0. Which, to be fair, like it is like an updated engine, but it doesn't look that much better compared to what we've got just now because of how good the original engine looked.
It's true, but at the same time, we've all heard that thing. We know that when they show off games and all that, they're not really polished and finished and complete by the time they're released. I mean, remember back in E3 2008 where Unleashed was teasing the Werehog now looked nothing like when they first revealed him. Now, unfortunately, again, always like the Werehog, because I'm going to have to spend padding this part to try and find all the Sun and Moon medals. So, apologies, folks.
Them little fucking rhino things.
That's weird. They used to have blue variations of them in the E3 demo, but then they're now either green or red. Don't get that.
I believe in the Wii and PS2 version they're blue.
I think so.
I think memory could be serving me wrong, but I believe that they are blue and purple.
I never played the Wii version. I always played the HD version.
There's like no combo moves or that in the Wii and PS2 version. You're pretty much just kind of like spamming the same sort of button over and over again.
Oh, so none of this fancy shit you're seeing right now is in the Wii version?
Not that I know of, no.
Now they get the ability to block. Oh, fucking double hit! Right, that's it. Come here, you. Aw, I was hoping he would hit the bomb. You gotta love how in this bit there's no citizens that are not... There's no citizens in these houses when you're raiding in their houses to pick up either medals or CDs or videotapes. Anyway, what's your take on the Werehog then in terms of these gameplay?
Personally, I don't really mind the Werehog. Like, I can see why like a lot of people were like really pissed off about it, like when it was first released, because this wasn't what they were like expecting. Like after what happened to Sonic 06, people were like expecting a more traditional Sonic game, which would like kind of bring the franchise back to like the days where it was like really good. So I can see why like a lot of people were kind of like bummed out that the Werehog kind of like took up like 50% or even more of the game.
Well, I think it really depends on the version. Like from what I've heard, the Wii version has more emphasis on the Werehog than the HD version.
Yeah, there's more Werehog in the Wii and PS2 versions than there is in the day stages.
If I recall, actually, Eggman Land, I believe that you get 2 or 3 day stages, and then you have to go through what 5 Werehog levels after that.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
And the fact that they really wanted you to use the Wiimote and Nunchuck, and like when you play with, I mentioned before in the previous part when you're not around Colin, but when you play the Wii and PS2 game with a classic or GameCube controller, you know you'd think one button will be like your punches and all, and the other's like claws, and then no, it's like you have to coordinate your punches because one's the left and one's the right fist. I'm like, that's awkward.
Yeah. It's like that, it was back in the day where like every game, like if it was released for the Wii, it had to have like some sort of motion controls. Like no matter what you were doing, it had to have motion controls. But then it was usually about like 2009, 2010. They just sort of like kind of ditched the motion controls and started doing like more traditional controls.
Yeah, and I think with Nintendo was actually it was them themselves that clever. They were clever enough to not plagiarize the Wii at its early stages with motion controls compared to other companies. Well, at the beginning anyway.
Because with the Wii, like I feel like when third parties like tried to like do stuff with the Wii remote, it just became a bit of a, as they call, like a waggle sort of motion. Like they weren't really using the motion controls for like sort of like smart kind of like ideas. You would just like shake the Wii remote just to do like basic actions.
Look at Sonic and the Secret Rings. Ugh.
See, that game is like fully motion controlled.
And you have no control of it whatsoever.
It's like, in fact, the only buttons you press is 2 and up and down for like time break and speed break?
Yes, I believe so, because the only control scheme you have is the Wiimote on its side.
I wouldn't mind so much if it gave you the ability to like use the nunchuck to sort of like control where you go.
Nope, not until the sequel. Now these keystones, are they a reference to Adventure, by the way?
I never thought of that.
Because I always wondered, where the hell did these keystones come from?
Well, wasn't Unleashed originally conceived as the third installment of the Adventure series?
Well, it is called World Adventure in Japan, but... which kind of makes sense. I mean, you're traveling around the world to other locations, and they're all based on real-life locations. Like this year's based off Italy. Da 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 da. Oh, I fucking hate that song. Like, the song itself isn't that bad. It's the fact that you hear it 30 fucking times in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it does kind of start to drag a bit, doesn't it?
Not to mention that again, I mentioned before, this game has a fantastic soundtrack, and some of my favourite pieces are the night levels.
It does give you like a sort of chilled out sort of feeling, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like the one, I know we're jumping the gun a bit here, but when we get to Jungle Joyride and Anabat, the nighttime music, when I'm listening to that, I get a Game of Thrones vibe from it with the violin.
Really?
And then like when I hear the violence, I instantly think of the Game of Thrones opening theme.
Do you like Game of Thrones?
I actually saw 4 episodes and I never watched it since.
I have. People are gonna like scream, but I have never watched 1 episode of Game of Thrones at all. Never.
Well, here come the pitchforks.
Yes, there are people like me who haven't watched Game of Thrones. There are people like me that exist in this world.
That's not fine. Everybody has their own tastes.
So I just hardly watch TV nowadays.
These bloody these variation of the Eggman robots, they can stun lock you, especially when they get a chance to fire their cannons at you from their fists. You know, traditional hack and slash games, the door is locked, you need to find the key. Off we go and find that key. And here's our next mini boss, Big Mama.
Is that its name?
Yes, it's called Big. Well, that's the name I'll give it, but officially it's called Mama. Something in the lines of that, because what this creature can do is spell out more of those little Rex creatures infinitely until she dies. Well, I'm gonna call her female because essentially that's what it is. Oh yeah, you can stun. There's a werehog move here that you can use to stun lock this Big Mama here, like that.
Some cuties.
Yeah, might as well just use it to show it off.
That was easy.
Hey Sonic, you just defeated the Big Mama. How do you feel? Does anyone have any children? Body wash. Yeah, that is your... No kidding, folks. This is your top speed with the werehog when carrying a key.
Still faster than Silver or Overgo.
Poor Silver. He needs to get a bit of redemption.
Hopefully he's a bit useful in Sonic Forces.
Well, he's not a playable character. He's just a off-screen shout your face character that talks in the middle of the stages.
As long as he's not saying that looks like a homing shot.
I suppose so. Boom, boom, boom. I love that move. Especially when you get two thugs right behind you or in front of you, you can just instantly knock out 3 of them.
It's quite ironic, like, you know how Sonic is kind of like a bit of a peace-loving guy? Yet when he turns into the werehog, he just beats the living shit out of everyone.
Well, they didn't bring that up, but that could have been an interesting thing. Obviously, in the story-wise, he got this werehog form because he accidentally took some of the energy from Dark Gaia while Eggman fired the laser at the Earth. But surprisingly, his personality's not affected.
Yeah.
Like, you would think, typical werewolf story, he would have, somewhat loose control of who he is while he's in this form at night.
It's like, at least, like, maybe make him a bit more aggressive or maybe more short-tempered.
Then again, nobody liked the werehog to begin with. I mean, even when I first saw the first image where you see Sonic in this town at night, but then and then you see the werehog shadow behind him. At first I was like, what the fuck is that? But then after I grew out of it, I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Why the hell did you put Sonic into a werehog form now? And you know what also happened with Unleashed, folks? This began the trend of every other Sonic game after that, it's been Sonic only.
See, like, I think, like, people used to complain about there being too many Sonic characters, but to be honest, is there really too many Sonic characters?
No. I think they were more complaining about all the different gameplay styles. Like, you'd get some people that would prefer to, like, the old days where it was just, okay, you've got 3 characters, but all of them can spin dash, all of them can run fast, except they all have at least one different ability. Like, Tails can fly, Knuckles can glide and climb walls. So I think if they took all the characters and made them similar to Sonic, but you know, give them each one additional move that's to themselves, then the fan base might complain less.
The fanbase will still find something to complain about.
Alright, Sonic fanbase, you can't please them all.
It's like, they will not stop until they get their HD remaster of Sonic 1. Because to them, that's like the perfect Sonic game.
No, for me, I'd say the best perfect Sonic game is either Colors or Generations. If it wasn't for the Werehog, I would include Unleashed, but the fact is the Werehog, I don't hate the Werehog, it's just meh. You know?
It wouldn't be so bad if the Werehog, well, if they made like a sort of separate character who could like fight, even if it was like Knuckles as a playable character with a sort of gameplay, maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
I suppose so. I mean, Sonic was not made for combat.
No.
I mean, look at all this fancy shit he can do. When did he had the time to learn all this?
But you do have to sort of like give Sega credit that they're not afraid to like experiment with like the franchise. They always want to try something new.
But then there's times where doing something new every time is losing its charm, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes you need to just take a step back and just do one thing over and over again, because that's what works. I mean, look they did how they did Lost Worlds. They tried to experiment that, and then it ultimately backfired. And they said, "Do you know what? For the next Sonic game, we're going to go back to what people liked." And what was that? Half of Unleashed, Colors, and Generations. Let's go back to that gameplay style because that works.
Hopefully, like the next game after Forces, hopefully they do stick to what works and not try to reinvent the wheel again.
Well, it depends on what the next one's going to be afterwards, but we'll have to wait and see what happens after Forces comes out.
To be perfectly honest, I don't know where else Sega could sort of go with Sonic. I've got no idea. Maybe if Mania is successful, they might do more sort of like 2D games in that sort of style. Who knows?
Well, this is the first time, like, this is not... Well, Mania's been developed by actual fans of the franchise, which is a plus in my book. People that, you know, they love the games and they understand how it works, why not just hire them? Especially when you see, like, the Sonic fan community, the hacking contests and all that. And you can see, like, unique creations of ones. Like, Sonic 1 without the speed cap. But then you get some really bizarre ones like Sonic 1 Omo-Chow Edition. Record. Nice shiny black record.
A record player!
Do we still use them actually, or is that all gone in the past?
Well, some people are like really into collecting records. Like they've had a bit of a sort of comeback recently. Like vinyl records, you can now buy them in shops again.
Huh. Never ever used a record player in my life, but I know I've heard of them, but never had them in my life. Never at all.
Because they're like really big collector's items.
Oh goody, Big Mama's back. It's time for Big Mama's house too. Anyway, as I be on more Eggman robots. No, I don't. It's fucking annoying. It's... Now I just realised you gotta love how the QTE sound of it is a fucking doorbell. Ding dong, ding dong.
You've completely ruined this now for me.
Oh shit, there's someone at the door, I better go.
Could you imagine like some poor soul who has the exact same doorbell and they're playing this game? You lousy kids.
Alright, Big Mama, you're going down. Your movies were shite.
Are they really that bad, the movies?
Well, the third one, definitely shite. I do recall seeing the first two once, but you're not missing much if you skip them.
I don't think I've ever watched them at all. Is there only two?
Yeah, there's 3 of them actually, but the first 2 are somewhat decent. It's like if you took the Night Professor, but then you made him an FBI detective in the disguise of a nanny.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is. Weird shit, I know. The first one, it can be tolerable. The first movie is somewhat tolerable, but again, it's if you're okay with that type of humor, like Eddie Murphy style humor. You know, big fat suits and all that skinny men are put into. Right, this platforming section right here, folks, if you go to, again, if you fall from this height onwards, it does count as a bottomless pit death, so you do not want to fall. And even though these clock gears don't have like the yellow bars that you'd find that you can grab onto, you can still hang onto the edges of them.
See, I always hate like this sort of like I don't mind the werehog, but see when it comes to this sort of bit, I always get like really nervous and I dread coming to these sort of sections.
Is that because you never learned the trick of when to not guaranteed to not miss the ledge, you hold down the grab button?
Because I just feel that I don't know if it's for you, but like for me, it always has to be like perfect, or like the jumping, or else I'll just like fall and miss.
Well, as long as you're sort of safe on a platform, you shouldn't really think that too much. I mean, what you're seeing right now is after years of practice. I mean, I never did this section flawlessly when I first got the game. I had a few deaths here and there, mainly because I don't know what I can grab and how far is it from, like, the distance wise, and not to mention, again in here you can see clearly the werehog doesn't have a drop shadow.
Yeah, it doesn't have a shadow.
No, which makes it difficult to land. Like I said before, if you're a game designer and you're going to make a platformer, you need to have a drop shadow. So you can see, okay, where am I going to land? Oh shit, I'm gonna fall into a pit because, oh, I should have known a shadow was there.
Yeah.
Chip, I know the clock's moved. Fuck off.
You can tell that this clock tower is based off Big Ben.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say this was ripped right out of Ratatouille, this kind of clock. I mean, this in the background, it's kind of Frenchy looking as well, not to mention the music as well.
I always thought that Spagonia was kind of like a combination of Italy, France, and London. Like, it's got London because like it's just got Big Ben like just slapped in the middle.
I always thought it was just a combination of France and Italy, mainly because of the architecture and the music they chose for the, you know, this location with the whole well, it's immediately ruined now. You gotta love how when you do claw sound effect, when you do claw attacks, you still get a punching sound effect.
I guess the slicing sound effect was a bit too violent.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up. Because we're hardcore.
And yet it's only rated a 7 over here.
Yeah, the rating between countries is odd. Right. After all that padding about that, folks. All that for fucking A. That is one of the toughest stages to get in S-rank, by the way.
Have you ever S-ranked this level?
Once.
Once.
But that was only abusing, like, using the QT system on every single enemy, and even that took a long time. Now I finally upgrade my shield. Now, oh, you see right there on the top right, folks, the level 4 for the Sun and Moon medals. That is basically your levels that you require to get to certain stages later on in the game. So say, like, for example, when you go to another country, then it'll say a big number 4 on the level select. That means you need to be at level 4 with either the Sun or Moon medals to even access the stage. Thus making why the Sun and Moon medals are mandatory for the first half of the game.
See, at least with the PS2 and Wii versions, you get like the Sun and Moon medals for like based on how well you play.
They're awarded to you. That's what I would have preferred, thanks Sega. But no, here you've got to collect them. Werehog, it's not so bad because you're going at a slow speed, but Daytime Sonic?
Yeah, it's all trial and error, isn't it?
And now we've got this uncanny camera that the professor's given us. Now you may be thinking, why the hell would he give us a camera? Well, this cutscene will explain why.
They're high as a kite.
It's Lee and his mates on a night out. Yeah, that's Jason Griffith voicing the assistant.
Amy, were you really that dumb? You heard his voice and you thought it was Sonic? Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, we're now going to Constantine magic now. Now, if you folks recall back in Mykonos where we found the ice cream vendor and we I commented on saying he's got purple smelly stuff above his head. Well, that at night time, certain civilians are infected by the Dark Gaia minions where they're possessed and they behave weird. Like you saw there, these folks are dancing in the middle of the night of the town, which is no different in Scotland anyway. So, so all you have this is essentially an optional minigame. I'm only going to show it off the once here where it's just essentially a night level, but you have to defeat the enemies within the time limit to save the civilians.
see in the Wii and PS2 versions, it's not like this. You're pretty much punching cardboard cutouts.
What?
It's like, you know how like all the cutscenes, well not the cutscenes, but when you're talking to the people and like Wii on the Wii and PS2 versions, how they're pretty much cardboard cutouts. Well, think that, but an icon will come up like press square to like punch.
QTEs.
It's pretty much QTEs with cardboard cutouts.
Wow. I mean, I know that the Wii and PS2 were not HD, but wow.
Cutting corners.
Well, the budget had to go into one version of the game.
Oh, I'm fucking drunk.
You took some paracetamol, man? No. Correction. Fuck it.
Bye,
See, look,
Spider-Man.
like, see, look, why can't we do that? That's some serious Spider-Man shit right there.
That should calm things down a bit around here. Chalk another one up.
Professor, were you just hiding behind those plants the entire time?
Oh, yes.
Of course. He was here just
You're
a
sad.
moment ago.
But again, he must have got a wee smile seeing his assistant dancing like that.
I'll happily explain.
And as Amy awkwardly drags the professor off to the distance, we'll see you in the next part, folks.